Hi. So today we're going to be going over the stop and dare strategies that we used earlier this week. Can you remind me what STOP stands for?
Sure. S stands for suspend judgment, T stands for take a side, O stands for organize ideas, and P stands for plan more as you write.
Okay, and then after you do that, what's our next step?
You mean while I'm in the planning stage?
Mm-hmm.
I use the DARE strategy,
Which is?
D stands for develop your topic sentence, A, add supporting ideas, R stands for reject arguments for the other side, and E ends with a conclusion.
Nice job, thank you. So today, before we start going over our essay more, we're going to go over linking words. So words that could put our ideas together. So you could read through some of those.
Out loud?
If you want.
I'll read them in my head.
Okay. You could just tell me when you're done.
We're not stopping.
No, Katie!
I need to step awake. That's
Are you done?
Yes.
Okay. Can you read through the part of the essay that you wrote yesterday?
Sure. Sports stars should not be treated as superstars. They're paid too much. So playing a sport is a job for them. Make a lot of money and should be working hard. I'm sorry, this is so bad.
Can you tell me where you would put linking words in?
Yeah, so I could probably use additionally after my first sentence.
So what would it sound like if you did that?
Sports stars should not be treated as superstars. They are paid too much. Additionally, playing a sport is like a job for them.
Could you tell me where you could put another word in?
Yeah, so another one would probably be right good after that.
What could you put?
In fact, maybe. Or
Also might be another good one.
no, that wouldn't go good.
Likewise.
No, because I'm elaborating on the already established idea.
Okay.
So maybe furthermore.
Maybe. Thanks.
No problem.
So before we start writing today, we're going to go over our checklist. So we have a goal in mind before we start.
Okay.
So that's that, if you want to take a look at it. So today we're going to be writing an essay together. And then we're going to be making sure we got all the steps on our checklist.
Okay. I'm not done reading it yet.
Okay. So before we start, we want to set a goal for ourselves. So we're going to use both strategies to help us. What should our goal be?
Probably to use all 4 parts of DARES.
Mm-hmm.
And combine the 3 ideas of my main argument together.
Mm-hmm. Good. Sounds like a plan. So now we're going to go through what we would do for an essay, but we're going to do it together. So you're going to tell me ideas and I'm going to write them down.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay.
So do you want to stick with that topic about sports players?
Yeah.
Okay. So when we're going through our strategies, what is the first thing we do?
We suspend judgment.
Right, so we don't have an opinion on either side. We view both sides.
Okay.
So if we're suspending judgment, how do we suspend judgment?
We brainstorm ideas for both sides.
So we brainstorm for and against the topic. So can you do that right now? Brainstorm an idea of why they could be treated like superstars and why they shouldn't.
Sure. So for why they should be, they're good role models for young children who are playing sports. But on the opposing side, some of them also aren't good role models, like the ones that have domestic violence. or get put in jail. Another reason why they shouldn't be is because if they play it young and they grow up just playing a sport, they could like get a god complex of themselves, where they don't think they have to do anything because they always have sports.
Okay, so they could get a really like inflated ego.
Yeah. Another reason why they should be treated like heroes, I guess that's kind of like an American thing. It's part of our culture.
Sports.
Yeah, we consider sports as heroes.
Okay. Before we keep going, I'm going to have you take a look at these. These are just cue cards, and they have each of our steps. So step 1 is suspend judgment, and it shows us the 3 parts of that. So brainstorming ideas. Can I think of anything else? Another point I haven't gotten yet. And then we start into the next step. Take a side. Take a side. So these are just to help us. We probably could.
We only have 2 for each.
You're right.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to have you keep that for right now. It's just a cue card that has each of the steps and then the steps within those. So far we've suspended our judgment. We have a couple ideas for each side. So what is the next step in stop? So that 4th cue card.
Take a side.
Do you know which side you think you want to take?
Yeah, against.
Okay. Can you give me a couple more reasons for against?
Sure.
So we already have that they can't be good. They're not always good role models. They could have a bigger ego.
I think you can maybe help me get the idea rolling.
Sure. They're paid too much.
Oh, that's a good one.
So overpaid.
I guess I already had that in my essay and I totally forgot about it.
Yeah, you're right. Kind of going along with that, it's their job.
That's a good one too.
Okay, so now we've suspended our judgment, we've taken a side. So now we're going to go to step 3. What's step 3 in stop?
Organize ideas.
Right, so now we're going to organize our ideas. So we're going to kind of pick an order that we're going to tell our thoughts in.
Okay.
So what do you think we might want to go first?
Definitely job before overpaid.
Okay.
And I think I would do job, ego, not good role models,
So
and then overpaid.
job, number 1, ego, number 2, not good role models, and then overpaid last?
Yep.
Okay. So now we've organized our ideas, we picked an order. So remember, our order has to go in a sequence. We can't jump from idea to idea.
Okay.
So you need to discuss the whole idea and then go to the next point you want to make. And then what is the last step in stop?
The last step?
The P in stop.
Oh, plan more.
Plan more as you write. And then what is the dare cue card we have here?
Develop your topic sentence, add supporting ideas, reject possible arguments, and end with a conclusion.
So we're going to keep that in front of us as we write, because that's going to stay through our whole essay. We're going to make sure we have all those things. So can you try and help me create a topic sentence?
Sure. Sports stars should not be considered heroes. Or sports players, not stars.
Okay.
And then I would list the reasons probably.
Our ideas.
Yeah. In the order that I'm writing them in.
Okay, good plan. So they should not be considered heroes because...
Actually, I want to change some of my organizing though. I forgot I had to reject the idea, so I think I'll wait to talk about the role models until I'm rejecting it.
Okay, that's a good idea. So you wanted to change that?
Yeah, so just don't include this one. That would be 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Because you're going to talk about this when you talk about the opposing side?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now that we've got our plan, we would start writing our essay so that you would start doing that. So now we've done our plan together. So when you go to write your essay, do you feel like it would be better than your first 2 essays?
Yeah, definitely.
How come?
Because I have a definite plan.
Mm-hmm.
And I know which topics to talk about before I talk about other topics.
Right. So if we look back at our checklist, do you think we would be able to meet your goal?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because I am definitely addressing all 4 parts of DARE.
Yeah.
Since we already developed a topic sentence.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll have supporting ideas for the main ideas in the topic sentence, and then I already decided what I'm going to reject as a possible argument.
Right.
I'll just have to end with a conclusion.
Mm-hmm. And then you're going to plan more as you write. So then for each of these ideas, too, you're going to have more support underneath each of them. So now I'm going to take these, and we're going to do a game almost called Rapid Fire. I'm going to say cue card 1, and you're going to tell me what it would go to.
Okay. Got it?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, in that first suspend judgment, what would our first cue card be?
We thought about ideas for both sides.
Mm-hmm. And then if we didn't have them, we would do that now.
What do you mean?
That's the step in the plan. That's what it says.
Oh, okay.
What would our second cue card be?
Try to think of more ideas.
Mm-hmm. And then what would our third cue card be?
If I didn't consider a certain point and I thought of it.
Right. And then now we're on step 2, so not on suspend judgment, take a side.
Right.
What's our cue card for that?
We would have to decide which side I'd be able to argue the best.
Mm-hmm. We didn't do that actually, so we should do that on ours. Make a star or a plus so we know that we're arguing against. What would our next cue card be?
To organize my ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So rank them like we did.
Right. After that?
We would have to choose the arguments to refute.
Right, which we
moved it over, so.
Right. And then we figured out what was the next thing we did.
Topic sentence.
Before that.
We numbered our ideas?
Mm-hmm.
I already said that. Skipped a step.
And then in the last step, what's the other name of that strategy?
DARE.
Mm-hmm. And what is that?
Develop the topic sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Add supporting ideas, which we didn't do. Reject arguments for the other side and end with a conclusion.
Good job. Can you go through them without me prompting you? In order?
The steps or the cue cards?
The cue cards, the order the cue cards would go in.
Sure. So, first we listed ideas for both sides.
Can you tell me which part of stop you're in when you're doing that?
In suspend judgment,
mm-hmm.
There's 3 cue cards. And we first listed the arguments for each side, and
mm-hmm.
then we tried to think of more if we hadn't already, and then we tried to consider another point of view if we hadn't already, and then we moved on to take a side, which we decided which side of the argument we wanted to write about, whichever would be the strongest essay, and put a star next to that list.
Mm-hmm.
And then we organized the ideas by putting a star next to the ones we wanted to talk about, but we wanted to talk about all of them, so we didn't do that step.
Right.
And then choose arguments to refute and number the arguments in the order that they'll come in the essay.
Mm-hmm.
And then we planned more as I would plan more as I wrote,
mm-hmm.
using the DARE. Develop a topic sentence, and then add supporting ideas. Reject arguments for the other side, and I would end with a conclusion.
Nice job. So do you think you'll be able to use that DARE strategy when you keep going to write this?
Definitely.
Yeah, we already have our beginning started. So the next part you'll be doing is that it's their job. That's the next part you would be writing.
Right.
So we're gonna.
Well, I would have to plan it first, right?
Right, and then you would start with that and then the supporting details. But we'll work more on that tomorrow.
Okay.
Good job.
Thank you.
You're welcome.